Marrakech, early morning. Djemaa el Fna, in the heart of the city, seems half asleep. Only desperately lovesick insomniacs are about, asking advice of those they hope may be wiser. But soon, Hanged Men's Square will be bustling. In the old days, the Madrasa Ben Youssef would have come to life as well. Like shadows of days gone by, students of the Quran would have left their cells and walked through the narrow, winding passages to praise Allah, the One, the eternally pure, the great and good. Today, it's mainly a haunt of tourists. Founded in the mid-14th century by Sultan Abu al-Hassan, also known as the Black Sultan, the Quran school served as a place of prayer and teaching for over 600 years. A kind of boarding school, both academy and monastery, with up to 900 students at times. In 1960, the Madrasa Ben Youssef was turned into a museum. In silence, the Bahia Palace awaits the moment of wakening. Fatigued and exhausted, night haunts the perfumed branches, drunken with memories. This used to be a harem. Hope, triumph and disappointment still linger like the dew of long-forgotten days on the marble tiles. At this hour, the Sultan's Grand Vizier, around whose nighttime favour the harem's hopes revolved, would be in need of rest perhaps, and might retire to his own domain, which was taboo to all females. Even his favourite wife, Bahia, after whom the palace was named, would have been forbidden to enter. Before sleep overtook him, he may have meditated on the cost of the building, and the time it had taken to complete it, 7 years in all. same faces, the same stories. Tourists meander across the square. Easy pickings for the traders. The present-day monarch's palace is deserted as usual. Ordinary people like ourselves never set foot in here. State visitors, yes. Petitioners, sometimes. But tourists, never. Servants dog our every step, watch our every movement with suspicion. As if we might try to steal more than just a glance. The garden to which the king and his family retire when they're in Marrakech, the most private of realms. We are the first and only outsiders allowed a glimpse by royal favour, except for the storks who need no invitation. As life slips into night, we encounter death. Some are simply forgotten, and the memory of others who ought to be forgotten stubbornly refuses to fade. Sultan Moulay Ismail so hated his predecessor, Ahmed al-Mansur, that he ordered all his palaces destroyed. But Ismail didn't dare to raise the hated sultan's tomb, and so he had it surrounded by a high wall, so that nothing living or dead might find a way in, and no trace of remembrance a way out. Thus, the tomb was preserved undamaged to this day. In the evening, Hanged Men's Square belongs to the people. Where once the heads of executed felons were displayed on pikes, the ordinary people eat and enjoy their daily festivities as soon as the tourists are out of the way. In 1870, Sultan Muhammad II had a pavilion built on the edge of a huge artificial lake in the Menara Gardens outside the city gates. On the first floor of the pavilion, there was a single room. One can imagine its purpose. Sultan visited this love nest almost daily, always with a new lover. But since only virgins were allowed inside, it's said that when the night was over, he would push his concubines into the water, since they were now no longer virgins. Whether the women cast aside by the Sultan could swim and manage to reach the edge of the lake, or whether they were in peril from wild animals, on these points the cloudy waters remain silent.
Thank you.